Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk about something a little different. Not so much sales, but more sales motivation. In other words, how can you stay positive? And the way to think about this is to ask ourselves, well, how do we get into a funk? You know, have you ever been in a funk? Do you know what I mean by a blue funk? You just, things are not going right. You didn't close that deal. The one deal you were working on didn't close. They pushed it off to next quarter. They went with the competitor. You gave them the best pricing. You negotiated. You even went upstairs to get permission to do special deals, and they still didn't want to buy from you. You didn't close the deal, and just things aren't going your way. Now, at this moment, your brain can jump into pity party mode. You start feeling sorry for yourself, but guess what? That's what selling is about. Selling is about the highs and the lows, and hopefully we'll have more highs and lows. But how do we stay positive? Well, the first thing is to be aware that when you go negative, when you really go into a negative state, you're really just injuring yourself. Because reality outside of you is not changing. See, it's all in your head. You can go negative in your head all you want, but the reality is the reality. In other words, we need to do something. So, first, our brain is always wanting to go negative sometimes. You ever get that feeling where, your brain always leans towards negative. It always wants to think the worst. And the best people who stay positive in sales always push the needle the other way. They always stay positive. So first of all, if you think about it, feeling sorry for yourself, because let's call it what it is, you start feeling sorry for yourself is a waste of time. It just uses up more mental energy. You feel sorry for yourself and you start, bad-mouthing yourself. You ever start talking to yourself in a bad way? I knew I wasn't good. I know I'm not good at selling. I knew I couldn't sell. I'm just not cut out to be a salesperson. I'm just not good at this. And as soon as you do that, all you're doing is you're basically creating this negative feedback loop of information, the negative information, which then generates these negative emotions, right? Negative thoughts generate negative emotions, which generate negative behavior. And negative behavior is you decide not to pick up the phone and make any calls. You decide not to reach out to your prospects because you're kind of frustrated. What's the point? What's the point, Victor? No matter what I try, deals go bad. So as soon as you let your brain go negative, again, the emotions go negative, and all of a sudden your behavior is negative, which means you will not take any action. And guess what happens? It becomes a doomed, self-fulfilling prophecy. When you go negative, your emotional state is negative, your behaviors are negative, which means you're probably not taking any action. Well, then you fulfill the prophecy. In other words, nothing good will happen from that. Our job in sales, mentally, is to stay in the game. Which is to say, it is mentally to break out of these negative feedback loops. Look, again, we've all been there. If you've been in sales long enough or you've been in business long enough, you know how it works. You try so hard to get something done. You try to get that deal done. You try to close that deal. You try to get that new client. You try to close that new client, and it just doesn't work. And you're banging away. 10 calls in one day, 20 calls in a day, 30, nothing. No. That's all you keep hearing. And it's easy for our brains to just say, you know what, that's it, I'm done. But again, what I want you to start thinking about is we push through, because this is part of the game of selling, right? Call it the law of averages. The more I try, the more, I'm going to get something. Something eventually is going to break through. Something is going to happen. So I want you to always stay positive. Even if your brain wants to go negative, stay positive. What's the best way to break out of that negative loop? Take action. There it is. That simple. Take action. In other words, do something. You know what? If the deal fell through, have your 5-second pity party. If you want to feel sorry for yourself, take 5 seconds to do it. But then pick up the phone and call the next client. Let's get back on that horse again. Let's do the next presentation. Let's call that client, the next one up. When they say no, I always say, you say next. They say no, you say next. They say no, you say next. On to the next one. That's the mindset. Read a book. Read something positive. Listen to a great podcast like this one. And again, just take action. Do something. I don't care if you go for a walk. I don't care if you go running. You need to go rock climbing. Do something. Keep motion going. In other words, keep yourself in motion. But again, eventually you have to pick up the phone. You got to make the calls. You got to send out those emails. You got to connect with people on social media. Take action. The best way to break out of any funk is to simply take action. So anyway, I hope you're motivated. That's it for this Sales Influence podcast. Don't forget to leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube. Let me know what you think. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, check out my online sales training platform. You know the deal, the Sales Mastery Academy. Just put my new book up there, Sales Ex Machina, How Artificial Intelligence is Changing the World of Selling. We got some great courses coming up. We're going to add about 2 more new courses over the next month. And right now, we're about 25 different courses. So again, if you're serious about increasing your sales ability, go to salesmasteryacademy.us. That is salesmasteryacademy.us. Lastly, I want to thank you for listening. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care. Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.